Technology is all around us. We have more computing power in our cell phones than I had in my high school when I graduated. These changes are all around us, but let's look back at my parents' era. In the 1930s, life was quite different. My father was born at home because it was too difficult to get to town. He grew up in a two-bedroom house with 5 siblings. His main mode of transportation was a horse. Thinking of the changes of hauling livestock today versus the 1940s or 50s. Today I can back up my horse trailer and load my animals and drive to the next location. When my dad was about 15 years old, he bought a new horse. His dad drove him to the farmer's house, but they did not have a way to haul the horse home, so my dad had to ride him. That sounds easy enough, but bear in mind this was probably a 30 to 35 mile ride on a horse that was not broke to ride. At least not when the journey started. I cannot even remember learning to ride. It was though I was born on a horse. Rather than the horse being my mode of transportation, I spent hours riding for fun through the summer. Whether it was riding through pastures, pretending to work, or practicing in the arena, most of my time was spent on the back of a horse. Farming for my father was more labor intense as he was growing up. More steps were required by hand, where now machines can do the bulk of the work. I remember Dad talking about picking up hay to stand it up in a field. As he picked up the stalks, a snake fell out and went down his shirt. Knowing my dad, the snake was probably more frightened than him. Today in our society, this is all done with machines. My family has a long history of planting watermelons. A lot of labor is hands-on rather than the equipment doing the work. Today the tractor can plow the field and they even plant with the tractor, but the hoeing still has to be done by hand as well as the thinning and picking. It is amazing to think about the Sandhills of Yuma County has had the Brophy family planting and harvesting for 3 generations. I remember as a young girl going out to the melon patch and getting the lesson between a weed and a watermelon. The harvest time is much more fun because the treat is when I was allowed to sample the produce. This long-standing tradition has changed over the years, but the love of farming has been passed down. The favorite activity now is shooting the watermelons as the season comes to an end. Farming and ranching is a family tradition. The ranch where I grew up has been in my family for 4 generations. As I was growing up, I experienced a lot of isolation. Neighbors were miles apart, but this life also teaches responsibility and hard work. I am proud to say that I am still part of the multiple generations of Brophy's owning Sandhill land. Although society changes, some things do continue to remain the same.